Hello everyone, and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 329. Today is Saturday, August 8th, 2020, and I'm glad you could join me today. It was a very beautiful afternoon today. It was sunny, no trace of fog, but now we are in the midst of the gloom. I can barely see Sutro Tower right now, but can easily see the orange house, so that's my whatever measurement of how foggy it is here. It's sort of interesting, so because we're so close to the Pacific Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean is 57 degrees, which is why I joke that it's always 57 here. This means that all of the cool ocean air rushes over San Francisco towards the places inland, which get a lot hotter. So this ends up driving a lot of fog over the city and keeps things actually pretty cool and pleasant. And the fog won't stop until inland gets colder than 57. So that's the time of year when it ends up getting a lot hotter in San Francisco because the cold air from inland is trying to make it back to the sea. But that's who knows what temperature. It isn't quite as foggy then because there's no fog to roll over. If that makes any sense. So, what would it be? So it's probably going to be another couple of weeks of things being pretty foggy, but oh well. Have to accept the afternoon sun when it comes. And I'm glad that I managed to have some time outside today. It was good. But not super duper productive today knitting or spinning wise. And part of that just has to do with, taking care of business. But what was nice was that I actually had a pretty good length of time to knit on Thursday because we ended up going to the Department of Motor Vehicles and taking care of license, register to vote, license plates, and title for the cars. So cars now have proper California plates and should be good. Would it be nobody's happy about going to the DMV? Luckily, my husband ended up getting a person who thought that it was unfair that we should be penalized for not immediately taking care of our, making ourselves official in the state of California. And convinced the lady helping me to also help in this endeavor, so yay. Would it be? And then definitely did like a happy dance as we were leaving, which made some of the people waiting smile with their eyes because they were all wearing masks. Also, I have to laugh at myself a little bit, so I hadn't changed any of the settings from when I had recorded last time with using the internal mic, and it took like 5 seconds to realize, yeah, no, I have the fan sound that whole podcast, so I am re-recording this. But such is life. So I'm almost out of coffee. It's a quick episode, so no big deal. But because I got to knit for several hours at the DMV on Thursday, I did manage to get 2 repeats done on the Sizzle Pop Shelf. So this is a Leslie Ann Robinson pattern that I'm knitting out of You Can Never, or You Can't Keep Me Down, and You Can Never Have Enough Socks. So. And this is a monster. Oh my gosh, it's so big. I'm wearing, this shawl is going to end up being Schlinkit size. So this is my Andrea Mowry Find Your Fade. And it feels like it's going to be a similar magnitude shawl to that. But wearing my Find Your Fade this way results in one of the tails striking out the ground. So maybe not that big for this girl. So 2 repeats in here. You can see my little sparkly dolphin hanging out. So I'm now 20 repeats into the shawl. I have probably I have 20 leaves into the shawl. I've done 10 full repeats of the pattern. That is sort of fun. No, that doesn't add up. I'm 20 repeats across. There we go. The shawl. I am, I think, 38 or 39 leaves into it, which probably means, yeah, as you do. I likely have 5 more to go, based on how much yarn usage I had. So I had about 47 grams left. I'm using like about 8.5 grams per row, so that translates to 5.5 more left to do. And that doesn't seem totally unreasonable to do before the end of Stash Dash, because that'll be 2 more weeks of knitting. But as I say this aloud, it just seems slightly insane as well. So, you know, we'll figure something out. But it may be the case where I end up putting down my Mesa sweater wrap during the time so that my knitting time is just dedicated to this one. In order to maximize what we have going on here. And it's possible that I don't have 5 repeats worth of this color, because this guy is definitely a little bit bigger and heavier, because you do use a little teeny bit more of this. Because this is the increase and decrease yarn and is the edge. So that was something I noticed when I knit the first one up, and the sun is trying to pierce through the clouds. Oh, well, that's what I get for whatever, procrastinating a little bit on podcasting. I did go to the grocery store. Not too bad. So this is my other project, which is the Mesa sweater wrap. It is a Romy Hill pattern that I am knitting with my Janita fleece, which is my hand-processed, hand-dyed, hand-spun fiber that I am now knitting into this awesome, would it be, stole-like sweater. And I haven't done a whole lot on it this week. I probably did a few rows on it, but I'm probably going to end up putting this aside till the end of Stash Dash, just so that I can put all of my knitting focus and energy into the Sizzle Pop. So, should be good. I think the colors are going to be sort of wackadoodle right now, but I have a little bit, I have teal blue coming in from this teal edge. And hopefully my yarn usage estimates were correct and life continues on. So I started to do the yarn carrying a little bit different on this one. So I had been having both on that edge stitch, and then I spent some time doing it so that I had only one on the edge stitch, but that was sort of resulting in a slightly tighter edge on this side, and that wasn't really what I was going for. So I'm now doing an alternate. So one of the colors, or what would it be, when I'm working the teal row, I end up in, or actually no, so when I'm working my background row, I incorporate 2 of them, and when I'm working my, was that something that I was supposed to do in my last one and didn't? Oh, I think we're good. And so hopefully that'll end up resulting in a little bit more stretchy, or the same stretchiness of edge as this side. It's a little, like, on one hand, like, it seems like I'm getting the same stretchiness on both sides, so I don't know. We'll make it work. It's definitely challenging when you're trying to minimize how many ends you can weave in, especially when you're doing, like, back and forth sort of rows. But gorgeous, loving it, happy. Sometimes, or would it be good knitting while I'm talking with people on video chat? Bad knitting, would it be boring knitting otherwise? So it doesn't take a lot of thought. It isn't, or let's put it this way, the most engaging thing about it is stripes. This is really great anime watching knitting, however, so have to class it appropriately. Like, definitely gravitating more towards the Sizzle Pop just because it is a little bit more engaging. I still haven't ripped out the original yet for points, though I should at some point soon because it counts for Bay Area Fiber Fair. Yay! I put in a couple of entries, so that was exciting. Because my mini sweater counted for many things. And it ended up counting for about 110 yards or 110 meters for Stash Dash, so that was pretty cool. What would it be? It was 11 yards of knitting and whatever, close to 100 yards of spinning. So I have to count all those extra little bits because they add up. So I did manage to get a bobbin done this week on my nest spin, so this is something that I started at the beginning of August for the Feather Your Nest Challenge, and of course the sun is here now. Like, this is like super blown out, but whatever. So I have white, yellow, orange, red, pink, and purple nestlets in 1 ounce groups, approximately 6 ounces, a little bit more with final weight. So I split them into thirds, hamburger style, and then I split this guy or these individual pieces into thirds, and I did the first 2/3 of the bobbin somewhat randomly, but making sure I had all of the colors represented, and then I did the last half of this bobbin as a gradient, going from purple, pink, red, orange, yellow, and white. So I'm not sure I'm going to end up using all of the, I'm definitely not going to be using all of the yarn in the hinterland. So this will give me an option if I want it to be more of a gradient on the top or if I want it to be random. And I'm going to be spinning the rest of the yarn randomly. So I am working on a yellow piece right now, and these are ones I think that I split into quarters. See if I can bring this in. I forgot to do this last time, so. So I've done a couple of them so far, and what I've been doing, at least for this batch, is actually just reaching randomly into the bag. So I have these split out into little plastic grocery bags, and I have it out of sight so that I can be random, because I just need to reach in, grab, pull one out, call it good. Which is why there seems to be a lot of the same color going on so far. So I know I haven't done a purple yet, so I'm gonna make sure to done a purple next. And then proceed picking randomly from the bag from there. So I'm not trying to massage it too much, but just enough so that, what would it be, that I'm not spinning 5 of the same color at the end. So I'll maybe give up on the randomness when there aren't too many pieces left. And this is my bag, which I think shows maybe a little bit more of the color representation of what I'm going for. So the goal is to take this nest fiber that I received for free as a prize for Tour de Fleece one year, spin it up in a barber pole way with some longer color chunks and then shorter, and then 2 different bobbins worth of shorter color chunks to make a 3-ply fingering weight. These are mixed fibers. I have no clue what they are. The white is probably merino. The other ones all seem to be the same. Maybe like Finn or Falkland. I don't know. That's just what it feels like right now. But not merino. And maybe it probably wouldn't be Falkland, because Falkland tends to be merino anyways. Excuse me. So, what would it be? But, like, this is something that I've been thinking about for quite some time. The issue with Spin Cycle is that it is a dyed-in-the-wool yarn, so that you end up getting that gorgeous barber pulling, but $30 for 50 grams? Like, come on. To make yarn that looks like handspun? Like, I can make handspun. So, There probably are some subtle things about what they're doing that maybe I'm not precisely recreating, but I think I'm going to get a reasonable approximation. And so this would be for the hinterland sweater. I'm going to be using this background blue as the main color. And at the very least, while there may not be value differences between these, well, there's value difference with the white. There's a big hue difference. That purple is the closest it gets to blue on that. So I should be able to get pretty good color work stuff going on. Would it be more perfect had they been green trees? Probably. But such is life. Let's see. So, showed you all the fibers, sort of showed you my design intent. So this is for the Feather Your Nest Challenge. It's going on in the nest group. This is probably slightly more fiber than is required. And it has been going like a little bit slow because I'm still sort of burned out from that 8 ounces of way too fine yarn. Oh, man. I did it, but it was a little challenging. Based on this experience, I should not do the winter quarter of the Feather Your Nest Challenge because, yeah, no. Like, I have plenty of nest fiber in the stash, but I also, what would it be? It's not total, or would while there is a lot of nest, there might be a plurality of nest, but there's not a majority of nest. So, as you do. But what would it be? It'd be the case where I'm probably not going to, I'm definitely feeling the spin down the stash so that it takes up less room sort of thing right now. So another spinning related thing that was going on was, so after the Camp Spin 15 in 20, I decided to combine all of my remaining samples into Rolox. So the purple in this is Friends and Fiber Falkland in the Delphinium colorway. There's also some silver, which I believe is a merino silk blend from Hip Strengths. And then the rest of this is a bat that was carded in the grease. So I carded these up on my hand cards because I didn't want to get my drum carder greasy, because yeah, no. But yeah, no. The Classy Squid, like, I really appreciate her color sense and has that like perfect amount of add-ins, but not such a big fan of the In the Graceful. So these are Rologs. They have just a hint of purple in them. I'm not sure whether or not you can see. They're primarily brown though. So I'll probably spin these up and on a spindle as like a little palette cleanser, and it's just fun to occasionally make Rologs. So I did 2 passes on my hand cards to blend the fibers together, sort of eyeballed so that there was an equal amount of every color, though I bet this one is more brown than the other ones are. And yeah, so there's still a decent amount of texture left in this, because I think there was also like a little bit of silk in the bat sample, but it's primarily the Classy Squid stuff. So this will be a fun little spin. It's been sitting by my table. What was it? One of my knitting friends had recommended that I could probably make it as some sort of ridiculous hairpiece. Oh, such is it. And then a quick update. So I did break the shawl on the podcast, and so I did have the original fiber still available. I had like a little bundle of fiber left, so I used that to reinforce and build everything back up again on that edge that ended up breaking. I'm really glad that it was fairly sticky BFL silk. I'm glad, because it didn't end up running at all. So everything's good. Hopefully I will make it through this podcast without breaking a shawl on air. I didn't even realize that that was a goal to strive for, but it is now. And I still have a little coffee left, which is exciting. At this point, it's been quite some time since it was freshly made, but oh well, such is life. So in terms of, what would it be, my fiber outlook for the time being, it's definitely a case where I realized this week as I was wearing my hat all day that perhaps it would be safe to make some more hats because the season of hat wearing is whatever, 10 to 11 months long. And that it would be fine if I ended up having a couple more. And don't get me wrong, I really love my hand-spun fiber optic gradient hat, like, a lot. But I think I can make room in my life for a few more. And I figure that there's still really good projects for hand-spun, and maybe branch out into slightly different styles of hats as well. So that's something that I've been thinking about. But while I can look this way and see out into the world, I can look that way and see all of my yarn and fiber, and it's definitely making me think a lot about what's going to happen next now that I can see the end of Sizzle Pop. So I'm wondering if I need to cast on a skein knit pattern. I already have the Weekender pulled out. I need to check and see if Andrea Maury is having a birthday sale right now, because I also want with the Fade and Weekender. And then I've been looking at all my handspun and being like, I haven't tested any of the handspun that I made for socks yet. There was the BFL silk that was finished, which would be super duper gorgeous knit up. And then there have been several different shades of purple that I've been eyeing. So while my non-handspun yarn stash doesn't have a lot of purple in it, my handspun actually has a couple of samples. So I have a cotton blend that I got from Hip Strings, and that ended up coming to mind because someone had asked a question about spinning cotton in the group. And then I have some leftovers from a laminaria that I knit with one of my friends that would be super duper gorgeous as well. As an Empower People bandana. So I've been ruminating about that. For my own sanity, I should probably knit a quick project. Maybe I can even knit a hat with that, or with the laminaria leftovers. That's a fiber optic gradient as well, so who knows. But what would it be? I'm definitely deep in the vicarious knitting right now, trying to figure out what it is that needs to happen next. So it may be the case where I do a quick project, like a bandana or hat, and then dig into a skein knit, because I would like to knit and her knit along, and sweaters take a long time for me, though it will be slightly insane to have two sweaters going at once, at least for me. I figure, or would it be? So my Mesa sweater wrap would count for an awful lot of Bay Area Fiber Fresh stuff. But it's 3,200 yards of knitting, so it may be unfeasible to get through all of that at once. Though by the time I finish doing that, I'll have new sweater handspun to knit with as well, so whatever. I guess what has been nice balance-wise is that I'm definitely feeling like I want to knit more right now, so that's pretty cool. What would it be? I would say there's maybe a little bit of danger in having most of your product or most of your project output be spinning. Because now I'm just looking at all of these gorgeous hand-spun skeins and like, what could I do with you? So, it'll be okay. I'll figure something out. But yeah, no, so that's sort of where I am right now, is that there's just all sorts of various vicarious projects, so it'll be interesting to see what I decide to do. But at least for the time being, I need to finish this sizzle pop. See, it packs down pretty nice. Compacts down into this bag, not too crazy, but oh well. It'll be fine. I'm excited to see the end of it. But I think for tonight it's going to actually be a lot of spinning progress, because I would like to finish the nest spin for Stash Dash, but who knows? It needs to be finished by the end of August, but I don't know, it's like the 23rd or 24th for the end of Stash Dash. Not that I've already made my goal. I haven't posted in thread, but I've already made my goal, so oh well. Should be able to record next week. Trying to think of what else is going on. I think I'm thinking about my eggplant now. I have to flip and salt it again, so yeah, whatever. So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.